different fads, and then you got people calling you every day, and you got comments on the internet saying you're gonna get a RICO, and I don't even think people know how serious that is.
Oh, I don't think they do.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit ain't nothing to play with. That shit ain't nothing to, like, that shit's serious, especially when you the...
If that phone belongs to anyone connected to what went down, that is a catastrophic, career-ending, freedom-ending mistake, because phones don't lie in court. And then there's this. When police found Keion White and asked him straight up who shot him, he didn't say a single word, not one. The man takes a bullet to the leg, goes into surgery, comes out fine, and still keeps his mouth completely shut when the law asks him to ID his shooter. That tells you everything. Everything. We'll circle back to that. Here's the real tea that nobody in sports media is touching. No cap. And I want to be precise here because the implications are massive. Keion White didn't just appear out of nowhere in the NFL. Before the combine, before the draft, before the Patriots, and before landing with the 49ers, Keion White came up in the streets. And here's what's spreading fast since this shooting went public. White has deep ties to the California Bloods. Now, I need y'all to get this in context. Bay Area street politics are not like anywhere else. This isn't your typical blood scene. Bay Area blood culture is its own beast, deeply rooted, highly organized, with a long memory and a strict code on handling violations. And that code is clear. You don't touch one of theirs and just walk away. That's never how it works. What makes this even heavier? Keion White himself didn't say a word to the police. Think about that. From the street's perspective, that changes everything. When a man who has every legal resource at his disposal, the NFL franchise, top lawyers, the whole infrastructure, chooses not to go through the system to handle what happened to him, that's a signal. That's a man saying he's not letting the courts deal with this. That's a man whose people are already aware of the situation and already moving behind the scenes. And here's the part people outside of California street culture don't get. Bay Area Bloods have long reach and an even longer memory. They don't forget violations. They don't let things slide just because time passes, or cameras are watching, or the person involved is a public figure with a high-profile career. If anything, the fact that this incident happened in public, in front of witnesses, and made national news, embarrassing someone connected to them, makes the response even more necessary. The streets hear that silence loud and clear, and the response that's been building since this story broke, it's not happening in courtrooms. Let me break this down because I don't think people truly understand how many fronts Lil Baby is juggling right now. This isn't just one problem. This is 3 separate crises hitting all at once. Problem number 1, the feds. And I want to be crystal clear. Lil Baby has not been charged with anything. He is a free man. But the federal heat that's been simmering around him for years didn't vanish just because he changed his label from 4PF to Glass Window. If anything, an incident like this, cross-state, involving a shooting, shell casings, and an abandoned phone in a police report, gives investigators a new thread to pull, and federal agents are very, very patient. Problem number 2, the NFL. The 49ers had a player shot during Super Bowl weekend in their own market. The LFL office isn't sitting back hoping this blows over quietly. There are internal investigations, security audits, and ownership-level conversations happening right now. Why? The NFL protects its players and its product, and this kind of public incident is exactly the attention they don't want. Watch how the 49ers front office reacts over the next few months. This will be telling. Problem number 3, and the one that should really be keeping Lil Baby up at night, the streets, specifically California streets, specifically people tied to Keion White who don't operate by any legal rules. And here's the thing about Bay Area street politics that outsiders consistently underestimate. Atlanta fame doesn't travel the same way out west. Being Lil Baby in Atlanta means one thing. Being Lil Baby in San Francisco, that means you're a celebrity who just crossed someone's space and put a bullet in someone's leg.
Big difference. And the people around Keion White, they're not impressed by streams or Grammys. But hold up. Here's where it gets wild, because if you break this situation down from top to bottom, the root cause, the argument, the shooting, the whole chain reaction traces back to one thing: the entourage. Lil Baby didn't book Dia Lounge. Lil Baby didn't invite himself into Keion White's private party. From everything we know, the escalation started when people in his crew decided that being next to a big name gave them unlimited access. They decided they could push into a space they weren't invited to. They decided his celebrity was a master key for any door, any building. And that mindset, that's what put a man in surgery. Now, real talk, this is important. Lil Baby has clearly been trying to clean up his situation for a while. The 4PF to glass window rebrand, that wasn't random. Quietly distancing himself from certain people in his circle, that was calculated. He's been reading the room, positioning himself smarter. That shows more self-awareness than a lot of people in his position ever demonstrate. But here's the fatal flaw this situation brutally exposed. You cannot rebrand your label and cut off a couple of people and think the problem is solved. The problem isn't one or two individuals. The problem is a culture inside the entourage that hasn't changed. A culture where the name is used like a weapon to demand access. A culture where 15 or 20 people roll together thinking their number plus the name means rules don't apply. You gotta change the whole operating system, not just the faces. Right now, every time Lil Baby walks into a room, he's not just walking in with his reputation on the line, he's walking in with the behavior of everyone in his crew on the line. And you cannot control what you don't correct. Now zoom out even further. This situation doesn't exist in isolation. And if you've been watching the landscape of federal prosecutions around Atlanta rap over the last few years, what's happening right now? Yeah, it should be sending up major alarm bells. Fulton County, Georgia, the same prosecutorial environment that built the YSL RICO case, the case that followed Young Thug's entire world, used rap lyrics as evidence, pulled in multiple people from the same cultural ecosystem, and showed exactly how far federal prosecutors are willing to go when they decide to target a hip-hop network. Lil Baby comes from the same city, the same era, the same cultural DNA as everyone who got swept up in that wave. His name has been circulating in those conversations for years, and every single incident that adds his name to a police report, every shell casing, every witness statement, every surveillance clip is another potential thread in a federal tapestry. What people don't fully get is that RICO cases aren't built overnight. They're built over years. Investigators collect incidents, collect associations, collect patterns, and then one day the indictment drops and everybody acts shocked, even though the signs were there the whole time. And the Lil Baby situation, it's playing out in real time, and it should be a wake-up call for everybody watching. The federal government has shown again and again that it does not care how many Grammys you have or how many Billboard #1s are on your resume. When they decide to come, they come heavy. And here's the part that really stings. If Lil Baby catches charges related to this or anything connected to it, the industry still eats. His label keeps his catalog. His music keeps generating revenue. His contract protects the label even if he ends up incarcerated. The industry has a documented history of profiting from the downfall of the very artists they claim to support. They are not motivated to tell him the truth about his situation, but I will. Let's circle back, because I don't think we've fully unpacked what Keion White not talking to police actually means in this context. This man was shot at his own private party by someone connected to an entourage that forced their way into his space. He went into surgery, came out, and when SFPD asked him directly who shot him, he said nothing. Now, from the outside, you might think he's just being cautious. Maybe he didn't see who did it. Maybe his lawyers told him to stay silent. Sure, all that's possible. But the streets, they read that silence completely differently. In the culture that Keion White comes from, not talking to the police after you've been violated isn't weakness. It's a statement. It's saying the legal system isn't the way this gets handled. It's telling your people the channel is open. The matter is in your hands now.
and his people heard that loud and clear. The California Bloods connected to White aren't waiting on a police report. They aren't waiting on an arrest. They aren't waiting on a press conference. They've been moving since the night it happened. And the question of what that response looks like, where it surfaces, and how it affects everyone involved, that's something Lil Baby and his camp better be taken extremely seriously right now. You got lucky in San Francisco. Real talk. You ran into the one individual disciplined enough and connected enough to handle it through proper channels on his end. But luck has an expiration date, and the Super Bowl, it's in Los Angeles next year. Here's where I leave you, and I need everybody to sit with this because the implications go beyond just Lil Baby. What we're watching unfold in real time is the consequence of existing in the space between two worlds without fully committing to either. Lil Baby is a Grammy-winning, Billboard charting, generational talent. He has every resource, every opportunity, every platform to build something that lasts decades. But as long as the entourage moves like the streets and he moves like a superstar, there will always be nights like February 9th. Nights when the gap between who he's trying to be and how his people operate creates a collision he can't control and can't walk away from clean. 3 fronts. The feds are patiently building. The NFL is watching closely, and the California Bloods take violations personally and don't resolve them in courtrooms. Any one of those fronts alone could derail a career. Now imagine all 3 hitting at the same time.
When we dropped the first video in this whole situation, we thought we had the full picture. The nightclub, the argument, the shooting, the NFL player. We thought that was the end of it. Boy, were we wrong. Since that video went live, new info has come out that completely flips the story on its head. We're talking police reports, forensic evidence, and witness statements that the mainstream media didn't touch. And if that wasn't enough, the streets started buzzing about exactly who Keion White is connected to, and why that could seriously shake up Lil Baby's situation moving forward. Listen to me, this isn't just some rap beef that got heated in a club anymore. This is blown up into a full-blown, multi-front crisis for one of hip-hop's biggest names. The feds are watching, the NFL is watching, and now the California Bloods? Yeah, they're watching too. Y'all need the full picture. Let's break it down. Alright, for anyone who missed the first video, go watch it after this, but here's the quick foundation before we drop the new details, because this is where it gets wild. February 9th, Super Bowl weekend. San Francisco is buzzing, the city is electric. The 49ers just played, the Bay is celebrating, and everyone who's anyone is out that night. Keion White, defensive end for the 49ers, decides to host a post-Super Bowl party. He locks down the downstairs of Dia Lounge on Mission Street. This was his event, his space, his guest list. Now here's the part that really matters. Lil Baby had performed in San Francisco that very same Sunday night. After his show, his crew ended up at the same spot, Dia Lounge. They're on the main floor, the public section. There's music, there's strippers, the whole vibe. But hold up, somebody in Lil Baby's entourage decides they want in on the private downstairs party that Keion White is hosting. And that's where everything unraveled. Lil Baby's team tried to force their way into a party they were not invited to. White steps up, confronts them, and boom, an argument breaks out. Heated enough that a witness had to run upstairs to get a manager to intervene. And while that witness is gone, trying to get back up, shots ring out downstairs. 2 shots, according to one witness, 4 according to another. When the smoke clears, Keion White is on the floor with a bullet in his left leg. SFPD rolls up at 4:06 a.m. Officers walk in, the party's still partially going, people scrambling to leave, and they find White shot but alive. That's the base story. But what came out of the actual police report? That's what takes this to a whole new level. Now here's where the dots start connecting, dots the mainstream media completely ignored. The leaked police report, now widely cited, drops details that raise huge questions about what really went down downstairs. Let me break it down. Investigators processed the scene and found 2 shell casings on the floor. Not 1, but 2. And here's the part that makes you stop. One was a 9mm, the other a .45 caliber. 2 totally different guns.
That means either someone had two weapons and switched mid-conflict, which is rare, or multiple people were firing. Multiple shooters at a private party downstairs at 4 a.m. And if that's not wild enough, they recovered an abandoned cell phone at the scene. Somebody literally left their phone behind. Think about that. Someone so shook, so panicked when the shots went off that they ran out and left their entire digital life on the floor. Every text, every contact, every location ping, every photo just sitting there for SFPD to pick up and forensics to dive into.